Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are joining me, hi, how are you? You good? Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I've just finished doing 3 hours of teaching and now I'm on here. So I'm good. I am good. It's that whole thing of trying to make sure I am helping, but also making sure that I am doing what is needed for my business. So yeah. Are you back at where are you now? Are you're not a year 14. Oh, oh, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. I'm so excited today. I've been spending a lot of time today on the muscles one. I'm super excited about that one when it gets done. So I'm pleased that you're finding them useful. Hi, Carol. But yeah, it takes time. That's the only thing. It takes time. Hi, guys, if you're joining me, if you have any questions, please do ask away. These sessions are a free session that I'm happy to go into any detail on the biology of OCR A. If you've got other examples, then obviously please ask. I can't guarantee that I know it straight off the top of my head. I will do a bit of researching, but yeah, my lips are so sore right now. You can tell my immune system is a little bit run down because every time it gets run down, I always get a cold sore. It's one of those things that it's my body's way of saying, you are under attack and I'm going to thrive. Which is really interesting. And the fact that I'll never get it in two places, and that's because wherever you first got the infection, it always leads up and it sits dormant until your immune system dies down and then it comes back to that same place. Miss, do you have advice on how to improve your exam technique? Like, I don't make a difference after doing a paper and green penning it. Okay, so if this is what I think you're probably doing is when you are doing the past paper, when you're answering the question, and then when you're looking at the mark scheme, are you actually really focusing on what you got wrong and why? Are you figuring out what the mark scheme actually means? So the green penning part of it is an important part, but not if you're not using it in the right way. So a lot of students tend to just rewrite exactly what is in the mark scheme. And so when you rewrite what's in the mark scheme, you're not actually engaging with the learning part of it. All you're doing is you're copying. So that's a waste of your time. What you should be doing is you should be reading the mark scheme, figuring out where you went wrong, and then turning that mark scheme into your own personal interpretation of the answer. So it's about taking the mark scheme, identifying, are there any key words that are there? Is there anything I need to do to guarantee I get the marks? And can I then formulate an answer based on that? Green penning and just copying the mark scheme word for word, you're never going to retain that information and you're never going to be asked the same questions again. So it's not going to benefit you. So the one thing I would say is figure out what you didn't get, write in the answer. What was it? What confused you? Where did you go off in a tangent? Where was it that you tripped yourself up? And use that to guide your learning moving forward, would be my advice. How should I cover topic 2 to 7 in next week plus exam questions? Because you have your mocks, I'm assuming. How should you cover them? I would say if you are cramming for your mocks, cramming is not a good technique. However, when it's necessary, absolutely do it. I would say of all those topics that you're talking 2 to 7, so I'm guessing your AQA because there's only 6 topics in biology. What I would say to you is Pick the ones you hate the most, focus on those. Don't focus on the year 12 content. Right now is no time for that. What I would say is use the time on the stuff that you hate, and the year 12 content should come through and should support you and help you. Miss, do you think there is still time to cover year 12 content? Oh, absolutely, 100%. The year 12 content comes through so much in the year 13 content. I wouldn't start at year 12. If you're year 13 now, what I would be doing is focusing on the year 13 content, so modules 5 to 6. Obviously 4 and 3 are important, but going back over them, but bringing in the module 2 all the way through would be where I would start. Chidima, I'm sorry I didn't say hello there. Hi, how are you? How did the mock go? Have you done it now? Is it finished? Should I focus more on exam questions and learn from mark schemes, or focus on content? A bit of both, to be honest. Focusing on exam questions will be a good way of identifying what you don't know. Then go and relearn the content. If you can look at the mark scheme and you know exactly from looking at the mark scheme where you went wrong and how to change that, then absolutely using just the mark scheme is fine. However, if you don't understand why the mark scheme is right and you don't understand what it's saying, that means you don't get the content, and therefore I'd say go and watch content on that topic area that you didn't get. Not they're being 21. I know, it's scary, isn't it? You have another exam tomorrow, but yes, his one was okay. Okay, good. You didn't love it, but you didn't hate it either. Perfect. That's exactly what you want. Felt like I was just blurting out everything you knew. That's good. Hi, Lily. The only thing I would say is be careful you don't blurt out irrelevant stuff on your answers. Hi, Adam. Hi, Lily. Some answers didn't even relate to the questions. Do you know what? I disagree with you on that one. So this is what I would say is, if you're saying some answers don't even relate to the questions, it means you don't understand what the questions are asking you. So that would be a technique that I would say you need to work on. So if you're saying you're looking at the answers and they don't relate to the question, that straight away says to me that you're not fully getting what the question's asking you. Can you give me an example of a question? Like, do you know a year, you've done a past paper that was 2022 or 2021, paper 1, paper 2, and give me an example of where that would be the case, and I'll show you what it means. One question asked for one similarity and I gave 3. I crossed out 2. One time I was just blurting out everything I knew about protein. Then I had to stop myself. How can you get better on the suggest questions, which is where you've got to think for yourself. So in that type of question, I would say it is going to be, when you're looking at a suggest question, a lot of the information will be there somewhere in the question, or it'll be about you taking your knowledge and applying it to the question at hand. So if it's a suggest, it means there's something that's in that question to allow you to see. Got my marks in a week. I'm finished. Right, hold on. So you said on Study Mind. Ooh, what's Study Mind? Is this like a website that gives you exam questions? Study Mind. Oh, there we go. Did not know that one existed. It was a kidney question asked about how catalase operates. Right, okay, so straight away you are asking about catalase. So we're talking about, it's a kidneys question and it's asked about catalase and how it operates. So you're expecting to understand, but it gave an enzyme diagram before the question. So there was an enzyme diagram. Well, catalase is an enzyme. So therefore, we're looking at, do you understand that catalase is an enzyme that is a globular protein that has an active site, that active site which has a specific shape which will be complementary to the substrate that it will work on. And we're talking about catalase, so we're talking about hydrogen peroxide. So therefore, if I want to talk about, and I don't know what the question is, I'm just going to blurt right now. I've got the induced fit model. The induced fit model that is going to bind round it. It's going to take the hydrogen peroxide and it's going to break it down into water and oxygen, which is a less toxic substance. This is toxic, which is not good for the cells. So it would be, how does the catalase work? It would therefore be looking at you talking about enzyme action, potentially. But again, I don't know what the actual question says, but that's where I would have started. Love that. Literally, and some of them feel like a comprehensive exercise. The liver. So it was about the liver. That makes more sense. I was going to say the kidneys on it would be less. Is it the one which was asking about the? Oh, hold on. Is it 2023 one or 2024 one? Give me 1 second. Let me have a quick play and see if I can find the one that I'm thinking of from the top of my head, where it was talking about it being in a special membrane. Give me a sec. Catalase. Mm. 2024. Was it the one that was talking about it with regards to male infertility? You should use 2025 questions. No, so it wasn't that one. 2025 multiple choice. Guys, does your school use past papers for your mocks? I can't past paper. Oh, it was a 5 to 6 marker. Right, hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. Do you have a snapshot of it? Can you send it to my email address? If you can get a snapshot of it and send it to my email address, I can have a quick look at it. And teeth. Stop telling people what might be in their mocks. It's a funny one because these questions are difficult because they're meant to be difficult, but also they're meant to be accessible. And if they haven't asked a question like that in the past, which they hadn't for a long time, it was pretty evident it was going to come up. Hence why I made my module 1 booklet that went through all the different statistical tests. You're always guaranteed to have a statistical test, and it depends what they decide to assess on module 1. So that would be the one thing I would say to you. I didn't like how practical heavy it was, but mostly it was okay. Well, see, the thing is, it wasn't actually practical heavy. It was just really looking at seeing whether you knew your content or not. That's the thing. It's not heavy. It is exactly as it should be. There is an expectation that you will have done the theory in your PAGs, and because there's an expectation you will have done the theory, it therefore means that you should be able to apply it to whatever they give you. Know my content though. You do know your content. You'd be surprised. It's a funny one because sometimes it doesn't sit or fit with you until you are now, actually. Round about now is when it starts to slowly slot into place. I would definitely say that's the case for a lot of students. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know what's the right thing to do for you because there's so much content to learn. I've just seen it come through now. Perfect. Wait, give me a second. Hold on. Let me look at the question. Let me see if I can find. There we go. Got it. Perfect. So it is a specimen paper that it's come from. So let me, I'm just displaying it now. Give me a second. On my YouTube channel. And I want to go because I've got me there. Let me just copy it across so then I can go through it with you. And then we'll go through what it's actually saying. So which one was it? Oh, it was the 6 marker at the bottom. Okay. Is that right? It was a 6 marker. No, I wouldn't say last papers were difficult in comparison. I'd say they were going in that direction. I'd noticed the last couple of years that these questions were becoming more and more common, and so I have kind of prepped for that. I think it's going to continue in exactly the same way. And so I definitely would say take your time going through the practice ones to see. You've got to remember that from 2020 when COVID hit, the exams got a little bit easier and now they're back to where they should be. So from 2019 backwards, you'll see the questions are quite similar in their levels, I would say. Right, let me answer this question, and then you've asked me to describe bradycardia. On an ECG, a bradycardia, you're talking about the heartbeat being slower than normal, so you'd expect a longer delay between the T wave and the next P wave. So if I was looking at an ECG, I'd be looking at the difference, the length of time between the last T wave and the P wave. But right, let's go through this question and see how we go on. So liver cells have a high metabolic rate. Okay, so we've got a high metabolic rate. Hydrogen peroxide is a metabolic product produced in significant quantities in the liver cell. Okay, so we've been told hydrogen peroxide, and we've been told over here that it is the chemical formula for hydrogen peroxide. It needs to be removed. Why am I struggling to speak tonight? It needs to be removed in order to prevent serious damage to the liver cell. So in the question, they've already told me that it's toxic because it's going to cause serious damage. So when I was going through why is catalase important, these are sort of things that they're telling you in the stem of the question. So then you're being told it's going to detoxify it. make it not as toxic, using the enzyme catalase. Catalase has a very high turnover number. So what does that mean, a very high turnover number? Well, it means that there's going to be lots of them, and it's going to do this on a large scale. A single catalase molecule can catalyze the breakdown of approximately 6 million hydrogen peroxide molecules every minute. So that's what it means by having a very high turnover number. So I'm just saying the things that are in the question right now. Hi, miss. What is anabolic and catabolic? Anabolic, think about it like anabolic is about building things up. Catabolic is about breaking things down. So if I've got an anabolic reaction, I'm going to take small monomers, build them together to make a macromolecule. And if I have a large molecule like a polymer, I am going to use a catabolic reaction to break it down. So hydrolysis, for example. Back to this question though. Right, where have I gone? Here we go. Catalase is found in this is the question. Interestingly, this was the question that I was actually talking about. That in my head I knew there was one that was like this, which is where you won't have heard of a peroxisome before, but you're told in the question what peroxisome is. So students read this and go, oh, my teacher never taught me peroxisomes. What is this? But they told you peroxisomes are organelles surrounded by a single membrane. So you're being told you've got a membrane, it's a single membrane. So automatically I'm going to put in here phospholipid bilayer, because I'm just giving myself little hints in my head as to say, right, well, what have they given me? What little bits of information have they told me that may help me later on? Absolutely, Chidima, it's a type of vesicle. You're absolutely right. So a peroxisome is a type of vesicle, a specific type of vesicle, and it's going to house these enzymes. So the activity of catalase was investigated in a laboratory using chopped liver. Now this is an interesting one. So they've used chopped liver tissue. So I'm straight away going to, because I know I've done this practical myself, when you chop the liver is very soft, and therefore getting your surface area to be exact is actually quite difficult. So therefore, because I can't get the surface area to be exact, that's going to mean I need to do it in a different way. Miss, all of these info made me confused what to actually speak about. Okay, I haven't got to the question yet. I will get to it. Right now, I'm just reading through what they've told me. So as you can see on my screen, not on here because I'm not doing it on here because it won't work, but on my YouTube screen, what you'll actually see is that I am annotating as I go. Now, for OCR, this is what they expect you to do in the stem of the question. And this is really fascinating because for those of you who are AQA, what they will do is you get a section B at the end of paper 2 where you've been given this, and this is on line 5, this is on line 10, this is on line 15, and you then have to answer questions about this stem of the question. So AQA have this as well. The only difference is it's very obvious that this was on line 5 and you now need to answer a question about how that relates to whatever they're doing. So it's a good skill to do whatever exam board you're doing, to slowly take your time going through, writing little notes to yourself so you are triggering your thought process. Now the other day, like yesterday, I went into the house and I went in to get something, and on the route of going to get whatever it is I was going to get, I forgot what I was going to go and get. And so I went into another room and Alan goes to me, are you all right? What's going on? I was like, well, I forgot what I came in here for. So I'm going to go and do something else and hope that by doing something else, my brain's going to remind me. And I went, oh, yep, yeah, no, I know what it was I came for. And so I then went and did what I needed to do. And so when you're going through these exam questions in the exam or practicing, taking the time to fully read, digest, and make your own notes, because there's an expectation that when you read this information, you're not just going to regurgitate exactly what is in the stem of the question. They're not giving you any marks for that. You're just rewriting what's there. But if I'm turning it around. So I've said about a single membrane being a phospholipid bilayer. Now, I don't know if that's relevant, but if I start talking about a phospholipid bilayer, I've at least engaged in knowledge and brought it to the question. So that would be the other thing I would say as you're going through this. But let's continue. So they investigated it using chopped liver tissue and dilute hydrogen peroxide. And the chopped liver was added to hydrogen peroxide, large quantities of frothing bubbles of oxygen. There's the oxygen was produced. Right, so we've got bubbles of oxygen. Now, I want to actually know what the volume is, not the bubbles, because how big is a bubble? So I would obviously want to get the volume of the oxygen. So I would want to use a thing like a gas syringe. So right now, this is me bringing in my knowledge from the practicals, the PAGs that I have done to help me to answer this question. So now we're going to look at the graph. So it's on the next page. It shows the effect of increasing. So I'm increasing the enzyme concentration on the rate of reaction. Okay, so here I have the graph. Rate of reaction, enzyme concentration. So as I increase the enzyme concentration, the rate of the reaction is also increasing. And I can see that this is a linear graph. So I can see that that has increased at this same rate or double because it's linear. So now what I need to do is I now need to look at what it actually says. So using the information, deduce why and how catalase activity, interesting, is regulated. Okay, why and how it is regulated. So why is it regulated? What is it that means that I need to regulate this enzyme? So this enzyme is an enzyme. So we know that hydrogen peroxide is, excuse me, we know that hydrogen peroxide is toxic. So we know that it is toxic as a substance. So because we know that hydrogen peroxide is toxic, we therefore need to think about, right, why am I going to regulate the catalase activity? So as I increase the enzyme concentration, the rate of the reaction increases at a linear rate. So if I've got a large quantity of hydrogen peroxide, it is going to be catalyzed into water and oxygen. So therefore, if I've got a high quantity of hydrogen peroxide, I am therefore going to get lots of oxygen. So oxygen will be produced quickly because that's what the rate of the reaction is. So I need to regulate this. And how am I going to regulate it? So how do I regulate it? Well, you've been told in the question. So if I go back to the question, let me go back 1 second. I've lost it. Miss, can you repeat that again? Of course I can. So we know that the let's try that again. The hydrogen peroxide is toxic. So I'm just going to go back up here. So we know the hydrogen peroxide is a toxic substance because it's going to seriously damage the liver cells if it's not removed. So that's the first thing I said. And then I also mentioned it about the fact that we know that the hydrogen peroxide is broken down into water and oxygen. And we've been told there's a high turnover number. So if there's a high turnover number, that means I'm going to be producing lots of oxygen. When I break down, remember 6 million hydrogen peroxides are going to be broken down every minute. So the information has been given to me in the question. There is a high turnover number. there is approximately 6 billion hydrogen peroxide molecules that are broken down every minute. Therefore, I'm going to be having lots of oxygen being produced really, really quickly within the time frame. So that's the first thing to think about. And then we need to look at, right, well, how? So the question then says, how is it regulated? And remember, they've told us the catalase is found in peroxisomes. So because the catalase is found in peroxisomes, what we understand is that isolation of it in a peroxisome is going to therefore affect the rate of the reaction. So it's being kept in these single membranes and only released in a small quantity. So we don't want to release them all at the same time because the cells won't be able to deal with that amount of oxygen. So it is a way in which we can limit the enzyme concentration, therefore reduce the rate of reaction. Because remember, going back here, if I increase the enzyme concentration, the rate of reaction is going to increase in a linear rate. So that's where you have to think about, what have they shown me in the question, and how can I then relate that to explaining why I need to do it and how do I do it. So it's about turning the information that they've given you in the stem of the question into your own understanding and then applying that to the answer that you give. So large quantity of H2O, H2O2, so hydrogen peroxide, into water and oxygen. So the oxygen would be produced really quickly because there is a high turnover. So there is 6 million per minute, approximately. So then I want to limit that. I was told there is peroxisomes, and I've been told that that is a single membrane, which is keeping it isolated away, and therefore I'm only going to release the number of enzymes in a small quantity. Because if I release them too quickly, I'm then going to have an effect on the rate of oxygen that's being produced, and that could affect the cell's functioning. Does that answer your question? Does that make it make sense? Yeah, your bodies are amazing. You deleted TikTok, but I did put notification for... Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's really helpful. Are you covering anything? I'll cover basically any questions that people have. I will cover the questions that you ask me. I do these sessions to give you guys what you need to help you. I know not everyone can afford the tutoring. So for those students who come to my group tuition sessions on a Monday and a Wednesday, if you're year 13, it's a Monday. If you're year 12, it's today. They have their own little workbooks that we go through. I go through questions specifically. I go through content. I do things what they need. But obviously they pay me. For those of you who can't afford that, this is why I turn up here to help you and answer questions that you might have. And the Wednesday is the one day that I have always set out, that I will come here every Wednesday. After I've done my group tuitions for year 12, I will come here and basically answer any questions and topic areas. As we get closer to the exams, I will then not do as much with answering questions. I'll do like a rambling on, teaching the content in as quick a recap as I can based on my gut judgments on where I think the exams might go, but I won't do that until closer to the exams. And if you are just joining and only come across my platform now, what I would say to you is you can go and watch the lives that I ran last year. Epigenetics is really cool. It is really awesome once you get your head around it, but it's really quite tough at the same time. And so Yeah, it's that whole thing of keep going. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. If you do have questions, please do ask away. If you have a topic area, I've missed. Oh, I haven't. I don't think I've missed. Everyone's left TikTok now and they've come on here. Um, but yeah, if you have questions you want me to answer, if you have another topic area, I miss Amna actually. I used to have Amna jump on here last year when I was doing my lives, and she would say, Christine, can you cover this question? And she'd give me the year, the question she wanted me to look at because she didn't get it, and I would literally go through it. So if you have any questions, like I've just done, please do say. I will not share 2025's paper with you. Just to be aware, I won't share that with you because that is in lockdown and it should be, and nobody should be giving you that. And the reason being is because it's being used for mocks, it's being used to guide students like yourselves who still have the exams to come, and teachers need it, because if you've seen every single question out there, what can the teacher give you to assess your current level and to give you guidance on how to improve? That's the frustrating part. So I won't show, just before anyone asks me that type of question, I won't show any of the current ones which are under lockdown because it's not fair on you. It's not fair on other students. But if you have a question, please do ask away. I'm hoping you guys can hear me, like the sound is coming through well, because I'm using my microphone on this because someone said to me before they couldn't hear me. I did like 30 minutes of a live on here for GCSE, and someone came on 25 past and was like, you have no sound, by the way. But luckily I was actually recording it somewhere else, so it meant I could also download that and upload it. But it was a interesting time. But is there any questions that you guys have? Is there any topic areas, or would you like a sneak peek of my new diagrams? I'm currently working on my study guide for the muscles and animal response. What about how it is regulated? Oh, so to answer that question, how the catalase activity is regulated, it's all about that peroxisome. So you're told that catalase is found in a peroxisome inside the liver cell. So the peroxisomes are these organelles surrounded by a single membrane. So the phospholipid bilayer is holding that inside, those enzymes inside, and they're only being released in small quantities. So that's the way in which you are regulating it. Also, hydrogen peroxide is going to damage cells, right? How does it damage cells? Well, hydrogen peroxide is going to damage cells by getting in amongst the phospholipid bilayer and disrupting the membrane. So the hydrogen peroxide concentration, as it increases, it is going to therefore affect the membrane surrounding the catalase. Therefore, the catalase is going to be able to get access to it to break it down. So it's regulated by being held within that peroxisome. Because if you don't regulate it, if it was able to be free within the cytoplasm, it would do it at too fast a rate, and that would cause a massive problem. Right, give me 1 second. I said I was going to show you some of my... I'm so excited, but it's so sad that I get excited by this, but I was literally like super excited that I learned a new skill on my Adobe Illustrator. And here is my thick filament. My thick filament that has the bands. And so, what I love about the diagrams that I have, if I zoom in, the detail shouldn't disappear. La 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 la. And that's what happens in my revision guides as well. So my study guides are done through Adobe Illustrator, so they're vectors, so that they should actually have the same quality no matter how much you zoom in. So when I'm using these for my sessions, which is why I build them as well, they should keep their shape, they should keep their detail as well. So it's super exciting. Yeah, it's so much detail. I know. I'm so proud of myself. It's like the biggest thing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud of me. Like, I just want to show off. And I felt really sad that nobody was ever seeing my diagrams and my detail that I go into. This one isn't quite finished yet. So this one I need to redo it. I'm not happy because my um, thin filaments are too thick. I need to make them thinner, but it's to show the light band and the dark band, and then showing the contraction and how the sarcomere has shortened. So yeah, these are the ones that are going on my thing. But I love the fact if I zoom in, I'm like, oh, look at the detail. It's still there. It's so sad, but I like, get super excited by this because hi, Carol. Just spotted my sister. Hi. Oh, thank you. I do appreciate it. I got a really lovely message today by a student who actually said they were using them my revision guides and needs more of my module 2, and I haven't done module 2 yet because I've been so focused on the year 13 content ones and trying to make the hard concepts come to life in picture form that it means that it hasn't come I haven't gone back to do them yet. However, I have dripped in a lot of the year 12 content, the module 2 content, throughout the booklets that I have done. So the nucleic acid nucleotide one is basically your fundamental building block, I would say. That one's there. The biological molecule, so when you're talking about the saccharides, they are in the plant one, they are in the excretion one. Oh, really? Oh, that's amazing. Oh, thank you. That makes me very happy. Well, you guys are amazing because you are my people who are keeping me able to do what I want to do. I want to keep building more and more to help you guys. That's really lovely. Thank you. Please do say thank you because I have sent you emails, and if I haven't sent you, I have actually sent you an email. I recognize your email, your tagline. I know I am. Do you know what? It's one of those things. You're saying I'm hot. You're absolutely right because I'm bright red, and this is an interesting one because you go biology. And when you talk about biology and you talk about the endotherms and the fact that the blood arterioles close to the surface of my skin are obviously dilating, and what that's doing is that is actually allowing more heat to radiate out of my cheeks. So you can see my cheeks are really, really hot. And they're radiating the heat out. And what's really fascinating is that's not because I'm actually hot, because it's quite cold right now, but it's because I'm getting excited and I'm enthusiastic and I want to talk about what is actually going on. And because of that, the adrenaline pumping can also result in the dilation. And interestingly, because I was talking about vasodilation is about the blood arterioles. Your blood arterioles obviously have smooth muscles, which is linked to my workbook that I'm currently working on. And the fact that those smooth muscles are actually activated by nerves. So the vasodilation that's occurring is because of nerve impulses. Oh, really? That's really cool. I haven't actually read that. It's one of those things that I love. I love doing and studying biology, and I've been doing more and more. Now I'm really focused on the A-level side of things. I mean, I've always loved A-level and IB, but one of the things that I haven't done for a while is actually read any articles or scientific journals, and it's one of those things that I want to go and do that, but at the same time I'm so consumed with the work that I'm doing, I don't find that much time, and I like having my downtime. And so I like doing things like I drew a picture yesterday which was me actually it was an interesting one. It was about thinking about you guys and your studying, and I'm trying to learn new skills that are not just about the biological diagrams that I do. So I don't know if any of you saw it, but this was my diagram from last night. No, there we go. And so I drew a little student studying away, because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to draw and learn new skills. When it comes to reading, what I actually like doing when it comes to reading is I like I don't actually like reading. I hate reading, to be honest, because reading, I'm so slow at it. So I do more listening to audiobooks. And so the audiobooks that I listen to aren't scientific ones. So the one I just finished last night, and I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted that it finished because I've really enjoyed it. Was called the Nightingale. It was such a good book. It wasn't the best book to be going to sleep to, because I listen to audiobooks to go to sleep because of my tinnitus. But yeah, it's a funny one. And then it's an interesting one as well when talking about my drawings. I was doing a one-to-one session tonight, and I was looking at my somatic cell nuclear transfer diagrams of my sheep. And it was so funny. It was so funny because I was looking at that, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that sheep diagram is so bad. And I was like, oh, look at this. This is my lion one. And oh, look at this. This is my elephant one. And I was like, I need to go back and do one of a sheep's, and because otherwise I'm just going to be stuck with this really bad diagram. I mean, it's not horrendous. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. But it did make me chuckle tonight with my student. I was like, look at this and how bad. And it's nice as well to think about how far I've come. I haven't. Yes, I've watched Stranger Things, but not the most recent series. I'm not there yet, ready to binge watch it, and that's the thing. Sometimes I get so into binge watching something that I just don't want to stop watching. It's on the list of things I want to watch, but I haven't. We're currently watching The Night Manager. If you haven't seen that, that's a really good one. I really do enjoy The Night Manager. Is a good TV program. And that just started like the 5th or something. Maybe not, because we watched 2. Must have been like the 3rd, but it's really good. What was I looking at? Cloning. I wanted to do animal cloning, so I'm going to show you. It makes me chuckle so much. This is my attempt of doing a sheep. Oh, it does make me chuckle. Yeah, it is. It's on BBC iPlayer. Do you know who Dexter is? Yes, Dexter is one. I used to watch Dexter, but I haven't seen, I think I've only seen season 1 and part of season 2. I've never watched them all. See, view as a new teacher, neurodivergence. Hey, is worrying excessively about the way students perceive you as a new teacher, neurodivergence? Am I worried about the way students perceive me as well, one, I'm not a new teacher. I've been teaching for nearly 20 years now. I didn't know that I was neurodivergent until, when did I start figuring it out? My eldest was about to finish preschool and about to go into primary school, and I was looking up signs because I knew she was going to have ADHD because my partner was diagnosed from a really young age. At the age of 6, he was diagnosed with ADHD. So we knew genetically it was going to be within the family. However, when I started researching so I could support her, I started to look at the criteria and was like, well, that was me as a child, that's me as a child, that's me as a child. And yep, that's me as a child as well. And so when I saw that, I then went down the route of whether or not I do have ADHD. And actually, I would more say I'm potentially have ADHD. And the reason being is because there's certain things that I'm very black and white about. If something changes, I cannot deal with the change. But at the same time, I am very chaotic. I go off on tangents. You'll notice if you've been with me for a while, I have stimming things that I do, like my ring is one, my necklace is another one, my ears, my hair, things like that. Um, and so what actually happened was I didn't realize that I spent my whole life masking, and only when the girls came along, I was too exhausted from having the girls not sleeping and all that to actually realize that a lot of my past can be explained by that. So I'm not worried about the perception of students because one, I know that I'm very good at what I do. Two, I know that actually, if I'd known this about myself when I was a student, or if I had somebody to show me that it's okay to be a bit chaotic, to forget things, to not have the working memory that means that I read something and I retain it, because I don't. I have to work at it. I have to continually go at it, go at it, go at it. Oh, sorry. So you're a new teacher. I feel like you're boring and awkward, and I think students perceive me like that. That's an interesting one because as a new teacher, it's a funny one. You go through teacher training where you are in a class watching someone else, and then you get to practice and you do a starter, you do a main, you do a plenary, and then you get the class to yourself, and then you finish, and then you start again, and you start as a recently qualified teacher and nobody's around. It's just you in the class and it's all about you. And I used to do that as well. I used to think about, oh, these students, I remember students would come in and they'd tell me at the start they want to be medics or they want to be doctors. And I have such imposter syndrome, or I used to have imposter syndrome. Actually, I still have it at times. And I would therefore say things like, I would think to myself, oh my gosh, they're smarter than me. They know more than me. I don't know enough. I need to go and do the research. I need to go and find it. I need to be better than the students are that are sitting in front of me. And so I would plan, and I plan for hours. My sessions that I do that are paid sessions, I literally plan for a good 2 hours before every 1 hour session, and then I do extra work afterwards to make sure they get what they need. Now, one thing I would say to you is that there will be students who love you, there will be students who hate you, there will be students who are just kind of like, meh, whatever, and you have to learn to be okay with that. Now, I have done many roles where I have been a regular teacher, I've been a head of department, I have been a deputy of lower school, I've been a head of house, I was director of student progress. I'd worked my way up to that point, and then the girls came along and things changed, and I want to be there for them because they struggle, they have their needs, and I need to be there for them. So this is why I do what I do now. But at the same time, it is awkward. Like, I sit on here and, like, someone said they made a comment earlier about, oh, you look hot. Now, I used to do assemblies to 270 kids every week when I was head of house, and there would always be points where they may be looking at me and they may be judging my hair that it's grey, they may be judging the fact that I'm really red and I'm blotchy. But the thing is, it's about, do I care what they think? Do I actually care what these students think about me? If they are the type of student who is going to make a comment like that to try and embarrass me, no, but I am going to educate them. I'm going to educate them on the right way to deal with it, whether that's to their peers or whether that's to you as a teacher or whether that is to someone else. Now, they're either going to go, oh, she drones on a lot, which I do. I love the sound of my own voice. But at the same time, they're going to respect me because I will give them skills that will help them to be successful. And I think having many tools in your toolkit will help you, but that comes through experience and that comes through the more interactions that you have. Started talking about farts mid-lesson. I didn't know how to respond. So, okay, this is one of the things. So you just talked about farts and what have I done? I'm like, awkward. But no, it's not. It's actually quite funny because farts are funny. Whenever I taught sex ed, it'd be a case
of, I'd go, right, do you know what, guys? Now is the time. We're just gonna let it out. Just let it out. Just talk about it. Let's just have a laugh about it. But I'm quite confident, and that's how I deal with things in a little bit of jokey way. But it's hard because you have to find the balance between banter, which we hate that word banter, but banter that is acceptable and banter where you're ridiculing someone else. So it can be embarrassing. I remember when I was at school, and I will never forget this. I just moved schools. I would be the equivalent of year 10. We were doing a English lesson, and in this English lesson we were reading through the scripts in a book, and we were sitting on the table around the room, and then you would actually have to get up and stand up and read your line and then sit back down the table, and we were on top of the tables. I still remember this to this day. And I let out a fart, and it wasn't a quiet one. It was like so loud, and I was absolutely mortified, completely and utterly mortified. And the thing is, I've never forgot that. And yet, if somebody farts around me, my daughters fart all the time, and we laugh about it. And one of my youngest one is so proud. She's like, I'm gonna fart. And she lets rip, and there's no stigma attached to farting. Like, farting is a natural bodily process that you should do. And so therefore I would say it is awkward for the person who's done it, because they're like, oh my god, everyone's judging me, they heard it, they saw it. Whereas I'm like, do you know what? It's a noise. It's happened, and you gauge the room, you gauge how to play that down. But sometimes I had one thing where, and this is in my teaching career, it was in my first 4 years, because I was still at the first school I'd ever worked in. In the first 4 years, there was this character in the class, and he was a great character. He was like always naughty, always being a little mister. And so I said to him, he'd been annoying me in the lesson. I was like, right, down the front, you're going to sit by me. You're going to sit by me, and that's it. You're not going to distract anyone else at this point. Like, I was still early in my days. He came to the front of class. He was sitting. I was still teaching the lesson. I was doing what I needed to do. And he let out a fart, and I started laughing. I started laughing. He started laughing, but I was laughing so much, I got to the point where I was crying with laughter. So then the rest of the class were like, oh my god, it must smell so bad, you've got tears in your eyes. Well, that was it. I couldn't teach for like 5 minutes because I couldn't stop laughing at the fact that this boy had let it out, but he had got mortified that this had happened. But because we just made it into a situation of, oh my gosh, the whole class is in on it, this is like one of the things. But I did it in a way that didn't ridicule him. But it's hard, and you'll find your groove. And that's the thing. So coming back to, that was me going off on a tangent because I was having a little go down memory lane. So if a student starts talking about it, okay, what I would have done in that situation is I would have gone into the biology of it. And when you go into the facts, when you go into the actual science behind it, you take away the joy of it. You take away the fun of, I'm talking about farting right now. You're like, yeah, do you know what? It's really interesting. When someone farts, do you know what it is? What it is that the gases have to escape. And if it's making a noise, what's going to happen is that's going to cause your sphincter to vibrate. And that vibration is what's going to give you. Sometimes if the vibration and the sphincter is really tight, you get really high-pitched noise. And when you go down the science of it, when you go down that route, they're kind of like, oh, okay. But this is the thing, right? Okay, so, and I get that. I completely get that. And I'm not going to lie, I've probably researched in the past, which is why I know. But I'd be like, do you know what? I don't know. Let's have a look. Get up Google, have a quick search, and be like, did you know? And then go into science. You take away the shock factor. The thing is, a lot of the times, especially I'm assuming, if they're talking about farting, I would say they're anything from year 7 up to about year 10, maybe 11, depending on the set that you've got. So what I would say to you is pitch it in a way that makes it scientific based, you can do the research, and it's okay to say, I don't know the answer to that question. If anyone asks on here, what is the answer to this, I'll be like, I don't know, but do you know what? I can look it up quite quickly. And the best thing that we've got as adults and as educators is that we can read the information a lot faster than them. We can take it in. Like right now, so I'm talking so fast, I'm taking in so much air, I'm getting hiccups, I'm getting little burps. Now that would be embarrassing in a class, but actually I'm like, it's a natural biological thing. If I'm gulping in the air, that air's got to go somewhere. It's either coming out here or it's going out that way. And so it's about building your confidence, and that will take time. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't immediate for me. I spent 4 years working with some fantastic teachers, learning from them before I moved on to be head of biology at a new school. And so I was given lots of opportunity to learn through those experiences. I was acting head of year as well for one of those years. So I had done a lot. I am a workaholic, but I've done a lot in my career when it comes to teaching, and I would go on courses as well. So I went on an exchange course, so I went to another school and I observed other teachers there. I did a postgrad at Cambridge University looking at restorative approaches to conflicts and skills. Like, I've learned a lot through the years, and which is why I do what I do now, because I don't want my experience not to be shared just because my life situation has changed. I love being able to be here for my girls. Like tomorrow I've got to take one of my daughters to the dentist because her teeth are crumbling. It is horrendous. So any of you out there wanting to be dentists, did you know there is a genetic factor that actually means that you don't put enough enamel on your teeth, and that causes your teeth at the back, your molars, to actually crumble. Now this is such a stressful thing for her because she is a 5-year-old she's now lost over half of her tooth of one of her molars. She'd already lost the nerve because there was an abscess because she got a cavity, unfortunately. And she has traits which means she doesn't like the taste of things, so therefore her toothpaste has to have no flavour in it whatsoever. And we've got her to a point of being able to brush morning and nights, and we're working really hard on that. Now, not only does she have that, but she's also got that her baby tooth is actually still in and her adult tooth is growing behind. She's got shark teeth, which I did not know that was a thing that you could actually have. I'm a biologist and I didn't know that, and so I've done some research on that. It's okay to not know everything. It's okay to figure it out as you're going. Oh, really? There you go. So if you're applying for dentistry this year, that's something that I would suggest you could look up and start talking about in an interview. Why are you interested in dentistry? Well, I've heard about shark teeth. I've heard about, I can't even remember. It's called MIH. I think molar incisor hyper something or other. Oh, your sister had that. Oh, interesting. Did she have to have them extracted? I'm so stressed out. It won't be tomorrow. I know it won't be tomorrow, but we have an appointment tomorrow for them to check up. So she'll get an x-ray because that'll be an expectation. She'll have an x-ray, but yeah, she needs 3 extractions already. That was one of the extractions, but I'm worried that the front teeth, if they don't come out on their own, she'll need them extracted as well. So I'm like, it's a stress, but it's a stress that we will deal with together, and I will support her as best I can, and hopefully it's something that they can do quite quickly and painlessly. But then again, that's where I'm like fascinated about. So how are they going to do it? What are they going to do? Are they going to use numbing agents in the tooth, or are they going to use gas and air, or are they going to actually have to put her under? Like, there's so many different ways, and that's all down to science and understanding and technology. And I love biology. She's a lot older than me. Oh, I'm sorry that she's a lot older than you. Although I will say, sometimes being older is not a bad thing. My partner is 10 years older than his younger sister, and they are very close, and we get on very greatly. So I would say sometimes being older is not a bad thing. life will introduce you to lots of different people, and lots of different people are different ages. Right now, whilst you're at school, school is the only time you ever get to experience horizontal peer groups where you are the same age as the people around you because you're all studying together. Whereas when you get into real life situation, it's never like that. You get into workplace and you'll be working with people who are maybe only just coming in as apprentice, or there'll be people who are about to retire. To her, out of my four siblings, yeah, it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating, the dynamics of siblings. Right, guys, hi, by the way. Ari, I'm sorry you've just joined us, but I'm actually going to close off now. Oh, she got married. That's really cool. My daughters are like dying for us to get married, but we're not there yet. We haven't managed to plan anything. Oh, she moved away though. That's sad. That can be quite tough. Right, but I am going to go now, guys. So thank you for sticking with me. I will be back next Wednesday again. At the same time. It's normally about 9 o'clock. I'll jump on here. By the time I've finished doing what I need to from my sessions and group tuition. Yeah, no, definitely, Ari, if you want, it's on my YouTube channel, so you can actually watch it back. Obviously, it's not the same as being live, and I do go off on tangents sometimes. But yeah, definitely do check it out. And if you are looking for something specific, all of my videos on my YouTube channel cover the whole course. Look in playlist, and you'll find it based on the specification modules. But guys, thank you. Have a good evening, and I will see you next time.